It's presidential, the outcome evidential. We strive for higher mental. This time, no accidental. We shine because we special.
Welcome, Remember Repeaters. Shout outs to y'all. Today is a beautiful day, and we are kicking this show off, giving the shout outs to at Insomnia Talks. That's at Insomnia_Talks. This guy's name is Derek Williams, and he's pushing our culture forward with positivity and definitely teaching our youth. Check this clip out right here.
As a kid, do you feel like because you have a father that's an entrepreneur that works for himself, different businesses, do you feel the pressure of following in the same footsteps? Like, do you feel like if I don't do what my dad does, then he's going to be disappointed in me? Do you feel like that?
Actually, yeah.
You do? You feel like I'll be disappointed if you don't follow my footsteps? Why?
Yeah. Because actually, I want to be like you. I don't want to be working $5 an hour, $6 an hour.
You basically
just
you want to control the type of money that you make.
Yeah, I want to work for myself, not work for people.
I mean, that's what I teach you. Just the freedom and the space of being able to be on your own time. Although you still working, is nothing
Hey man, shout outs to I Am Mastery Academy. That's the academy that's teaching people how to learn and earn on the go, teaching people how to invest and be on the right side of money. Shout outs to Doc Spills and all the educators over there that's teaching people, whether it's levels, colors, harmonics, with simply teaching people how to learn and invest. And you can just match your colors. That's what we learned from day one. So get with me. That's at Read, Remember, Repeat, or at Big MUGGA. Those are my Instagrams. And let's get this money, family. Welcome back, Read, Remember, Repeaters. We are here. Fresh day, new day. It's like 7, 8 in the morning. You already know we came back to give y'all some of that sauce. You know what I mean? Have y'all been reading? Have you been, listening to audio if not reading? And I'm asking y'all this to just spark the idea back in your mind. I know you're not going to answer me back on this screen. This is not a live recording, but I'm telling you, get your read on, get your audio on, because that's going to move you from here to here. You know what I mean? Well, let's go. For some reason, they seem just a little bit cocky and more arrogant than other execs, and really like to control the room. I wanted to see if I could snatch that control out from under them without them even realizing it. Every time some big shot TV exec was pontificating about their plans, when they looked to me for that affirmation, I'd just sit there stone-faced, no nod, no laugh. I would not offer them anything. It would completely throw them off. They became very flustered. Once I had them off their game, it was much easier to assert my agenda and move the conversation in a direction that was beneficial to me. I was hustling harder, but literally without moving a muscle. Try it yourself. If you're in a meeting and your boss looks to you for affirmation, don't give it to them. That doesn't mean stare at your phone or off into space while they're talking. By all means, maintain eye contact and show that you're listening. Just don't offer them any nonverbal feedback. Beyond that, I promise that if you do that, the person who's speaking will become fixated on you. Subconsciously, they will be thinking, everyone else is giving me verification, but this person isn't giving me anything. What's going on? You could be the most junior person in the room, but after that meeting, you're going to occupy some prime real estate in your boss's head. They're going to be thinking, that's a smart person. I need to pay more attention to them. You will have made a positive and lasting impression on your boss. Now it's on you to capitalize on that advantage you've created for yourself. If you don't follow up that meeting with impressive ideas and a strong work ethic, the impression won't be worth much. But if you can use your boss's newfound interest to showcase the great work you've been doing, it's really going to propel your trajectory. Fake it till you make it. Bill Gates and Paul Allen were computer nerds who met in high school in Seattle. where they both shared an interest in early computing systems. Several 7 years graduating, Allen found himself in Boston, working for Honeywell, while Gates was a student at nearby Harvard. One day, Allen met up with Gates to show him the latest edition of Popular Electronics magazine. The cover story was about something neither of them had never seen before, a personal computer. Previously, computers were only for big companies or the government. The article introduced a game changer, the Altair 8800, a personal computer invented by a company out of New Mexico called Micro Instrumentation and Telemetry Systems. Today, we wouldn't even recognize the Altair as a computer. It didn't have a screen or a keyboard. It communicated by little red lights that lit up on the front of its box-like frame. To Allen and Gates, though, it seemed like something out of the future. They also saw its launch as potential opportunity. The Altair ran on a very slow and unreliable operating system. Allen and Gates had been working on a program they called BASIC, which they were convinced would make the Altair much more user-friendly. Which made the Altair much more user-friendly. Sorry about that, guys. They decided to contact MIT's and pitch them on their program. They got MIT's CEO on the phone and explained that they'd been working on the Altair and developed a new program specifically for it. The company's CEO, Ed Roberts, was intrigued and invited them to New Mexico to give him a demonstration. Allen and Gates were ecstatic, except they had one problem. They had never actually bought an Altair or finished writing BASIC. As soon as they got off the phone with Roberts, they ran out and bought an Altair. Then they spent the next several months frantically writing the actual script for BASIC. Of course, Roberts ended up leaving the program, and he even hired Allen to work at MIT's. The experience led to Allen and Gates launching their own company, Microsoft, which would go on to make both men among the richest in the entire world. Bill Gates and Paul Allen would never have set out on the journey, however, if they hadn't been willing to bullshit Ed Roberts on that first phone call. They weren't lying about their talent as computer programmers or their confidence in improving the Altair, but they damn sure exaggerated what they actually done prior to that call in order to make the best possible impression. One of the main reasons they both went on to have such legendary careers other than their skill and work ethic was that they both understood the importance of crafting a narrative, of making themselves appear to have already achieved a higher level of success than they were actually at. In time, they wouldn't have to fake a thing, but if they hadn't been a bit bold with the truth when they were first starting, they might never have got their own company off the ground. One of hip-hop's favorite expressions is fake it till you make it, which is exactly what Bill Gates and Paul Allen did. The idea is that even if your circumstances are disadvantaged or you lack experience, so long as you project the confidence and energy of someone successful, it's only a matter of time till true success comes and finds you. 1 second, family, we're going to go over and let y'all get some more of this sauce real quick before we finish reading.
And that's why it's to no surprise that a large majority of the most successful people on this planet have attested a lot of their success to their mentors. Martin Luther King had Gandhi, Mark Zuckerberg had Steve Jobs, Drake had Lil Wayne, and Bill Gates had Warren Buffett. People who become successful almost always have at least one person in their sphere of influence who was already massively successful. It's from them that they adopted the mindsets and habits that they needed to eventually bring them to success. However, you might say, well, I don't know anyone who's successful, my friends are just average people. But this is where the benefit of reading comes into play. A book is literally the words, the ideas, the mindsets, the advice, and even the experience of another person wrapped into a convenient, portable, always available collection of papers. It's almost equivalent to having that person there speaking to you. 75% of self-made millionaires have even reported reading at least 2 books a month. The true benefit of reading is that you can pick and choose who you want to add to your inner group of influence that will eventually affect who you become as a person. When you read, you get a glimpse into the mind of the author. There are so many books out there that are written by people who are already massively successful in different fields. Their ideas, mindsets, and words are all waiting to be shared. If you wanted to go on a meditation retreat with Gandhi, talk politics with Martin Luther King, hit the studio with Lil Wayne, or even get business advice from Warren Buffett. All you have to do is submerge yourself by reading their words, and you'll get a glimpse into their world and their way of thinking. You will have essentially added a new friend to your group of friends, a friend who is most likely older and wiser on top of being significantly more successful. And when you do that, you start adopting some of their mindsets and their habits, because that's what we do as humans. We copy each other. And this is what eventually brings you closer to success. So challenge yourself to read. My personal New Year's resolution this year is to read at least one book a week, so expect some videos about big concepts that may come across.
Alright. It's an expression that's been used to so often almost become cliche. Don't let its overuse fool you though. I can promise you that this principle has real power even after you make it. A great example is when I released the 50 Cent Is the Future mixtape. It was the first project I released after getting dropped by Columbia. I was in one of the most vulnerable spots I'd ever found myself in and knew I had to do something to grab the industry's attention. At the time, bootlegging was a major issue in hip-hop. Industry insiders had been getting their hands on albums before their official release dates and then selling them to bootleggers. Those bootleggers would sell the disc with a fake cover on the streets for $5 to $10 a pop. Instead of the $20 a CD might go for at Best Buy or Virgin Megastore. That left the artist completely cut out of the process financially. The bootleggers wanted to carry whatever was hot that the major labels were putting out. Albums like Nelly, Country Grammar, or Nas's Stillmatic. Those artists, not Nas in particular, would then do anything possible to keep their music from getting into the bootleggers' hands. And if they did come across some unlucky immigrant illegally selling their album, a beatdown usually ensued. I saw the situation completely different from those major label artists because I needed a buzz. I actively wanted my music to get bootlegged. To make it happen, I hatched a plan. No one would give me a record deal, but I decided to put the Future out on my own. Anyway, the key was to do everything possible to give it the appearance of being a major label release. I hired a photographer to shoot the front cover and a designer to create a package that looked like a regular release. I even put a fake barcode on the back cover to make it look as official as possible. Then I had my people leak the album to every bootlegger that would take it. My plan worked to perfection. The bootleggers quickly started pushing my album, not realizing they'd stolen something that I was actually trying to give away. All over the city, in different hoods and multiple street corners, word began to spread about a new 50 Cent album that wasn't available in stores. You had to know the right bootlegger to get your hands on it, because it was so hard to find it. Instantly became the cool thing to have. The perceived exclusivity only drove interest higher. In one instance, the perception was too strong. One of my homies was walking down Jamaica Avenue and saw an African guy selling the Future on the table. Unaware of my plan, my friend thought the guy was ripping me off. He ran up on the bootlegger, flipped his table, and punched dude square in the face. He ended up knocking the dude's teeth out of his mouth. Afterward, my friend reported back to me on what he'd done, thinking I'd be pleased. "What did you do that for?" I scolded him. "Fool, we need him to sell the CD because we ain't got no deal yet. We're trying to create the buzz. Don't we punch anybody else in the mouth. You messing with the whole thing, man." My friend was apologetic. "Oh, my bad, 50. I thought the dude was trying to steal from me." "Nah, this is part of the plan," I told him. "In fact, go back and buy a few more copies just so him and his people know the streets really want it." I took a much softer approach with the bootlegger. One time I was walking towards Chris Lighty's office in Manhattan when I saw a guy with a bunch of CDs laid out on the street on the sidewalk. "What you got?" I asked him. "Oh yeah, I got that new 50 Cent, man. It's the bomb." He told me, obviously not realizing who he was talking to. "Oh word? Let me see." I told him. Sure enough, he had 50 Cent Is the Future. I love knowing that my CD was the one he was pushing first. I gave the guy a big smile and bought 2 copies off. I had to keep that demand going. One of the major values that labels offered artists was their distribution network. The labels control which albums got the right stores, as well as how they were displayed and promoted. Feel me? You already know, man. That's our time right there. I usually give y'all like 10 minutes worth of reading. Read, remember, repeat, man. We ain't gotta say no more, right? Let's keep this thing going.
I ain't talking about family, I ain't talking about the block. I'm talking about you and everything that you got. The conductor of the train, the only one to make it stop. And the pilot on the plane.
And make sure you guys are juicing, man. Make sure you're getting that 100% cold pressed juice at Rise Juice.
Push phones off for the lot, dividing them into lots. I look like I hit a lot. We turning up on the yacht, we shining a billion watts.